So 250 years ago, right now, the revolution was well underway. The American Revolution had been started. The Continental Congress was meeting in this building, Independence Hall. And one thing I've been doing every day is just checking letters that the Founding Fathers wrote back and forth to each other. So I figured I'd check today and see if I find anything interesting and share it with you. I've got my laptop right here. So I'm gonna be looking down and checking for letters. Okay, let's check the letters for July 2nd, which was yesterday. Oh, looks like there are no letters for July 2nd. That's interesting. Huh, okay. Well, let's think. What do we want to do? Maybe we can go back. There was a letter, I believe, some sort of resolution on, I want to say the June 25th. Maybe we can read that today. Let me go find it. Okay, we went back in time to June 25th here, 1775. I think it was this: intended vindication and offer from Congress to Parliament. Yeah, this is it. It's very long. I don't think we're going to have time to read the whole thing, but let's skim it. Let's see what's interesting about it. Maybe we can at least read this introduction, because these are usually pretty interesting. Okay. Intended vindication and offer from Congress to Parliament in 1775. Printed in the Public Advertiser on July 18, 1777. This document has often been reprinted, but for good reason never explained. When it appeared in the Public Advertiser in 1777, it was introduced with what purported to be an account of its origin. The following paper was drawn up in a committee of Congress on June 25, 1775, but does not appear in their minutes. A severe act of Parliament, which arrived about that time, having determined them not to give the sum proposed in it. It is supposed to have been written by Dr. Franklin. End quote. Although much of this note is fanciful, it has kernels of truth. Franklin did draw up the paper and read it to a committee, but it was probably not a report from that committee. It came before Congress and was not acted upon, but for a quite different reason from the one the printer assigned. The evidence for these conclusions, although reported in 1780s, is persuasive. Silas Deane referred to the episode twice, once in a letter to Franklin in 1782, and again with more circumstantial detail in a pamphlet published in 1784. Both letter and pamphlet were attempts to exonerate himself from charges against him, and may be considered suspect for that reason. But what he had to say about this document was irrelevant to the later charges. He therefore had no motive for twisting the facts, and the gist of his testimony appears to be reliable. It does, however, contradict itself in some details. In 1782, he spoke of the paper as a report drawn up by Franklin in a committee on which he and Deane served, and submitted to Congress a few days after passage of the Olive Branch petition. The offers it contained were debated and had warm support, particularly from Richard Henry Lee and Roger Sherman, but did not come to a vote. They were put aside because of, quote, the multiplicity and confusion of the important business at that time on hand, end quote. In Deane's pamphlet, the story changes. The paper was not drawn up in a committee or submitted by it. Franklin, Deane, and Richard Henry Lee were serving on one with a quite different assignment, which must have been to recommend policy on trade. During a pause while the recommendations were being transcribed, Franklin read this paper to the members. Lee approved and asked to have the offers in it brought before Congress as an individual motion. When Franklin declined to act, Lee moved them the next day. Quote, the proposals appeared in no way disagreeable to the House, end quote, but were objected to as premature and inconsistent with the request in the Olive Branch petition that the colonies be restored to the status quo of 1763. If after that request, Congress approved the present offers and made them official, Whitehall might raise its demands. Lee thereupon withdrew his motion, and no entry was made of it in the journals. This second version of the story, though written even longer after the event, is much the more plausible. The first presupposes a committee and a report of which no record exists, and ends with the offers being in effect overlooked. The second explains why the records are silent about the proposal and why it was withdrawn. The offers are, in contrast to the generalities of the petition, concrete and to the point. They consist of two alternatives. If Britain will accord the colonies the commercial status that Scotland acquired in the Act of Union and allow them to trade freely with the rest of the world, they will pledge an annual revenue of £100,000 or sterling, pounds, whatever the currency was, shillings, sterling, I don't know, for the next century. If this proposal is declined, they will bind themselves in a covenant and recognize for the same period the right of Parliament to regulate their trade in the common interest. Remarkable offers at the best of times, and that July the times were not at their best. News of Bunker Hill had reached the delegates. Hey y'all, my phone is overheating, so it cut off midway through me reading that. I'm not going to continue. I think that is an interesting document. You can go look for it on June 25th, 1775. There's a lot of activity behind me setting up for July 4th celebration. But here's Independence Hall. If you liked this video, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye.